What's up, guys? In the last video, we went into GUI. We took it to the point where we got some basic stuff set up. We set up button and menu, and we haven't actually done anything with them. We just kind of create like the structure from which they exist and kind of just stuck them in there. So we are going to have some changes here with this one to these structures, just slight, because I started to implement them like, well, I need to add this and this and this, and I hadn't completely followed or thought everything through. I have since then added some stuff as like, all right, well, added this. So there won't be major changes. And I'll be honest, I am regretting how I implemented this just a little bit because it is a tad convoluted. However, we will today finally get to utilize our register element action, and not our register element for this in particular. Actually, I think it is here where we do it, where we actually have to do something when we register an element because of something weird that happens. I couldn't quite figure out why it happens, but I could figure out a way to fix it. In a future video, we might see, or I might actually find the fix for it and properly fix it. But for now, I have a simple solution. Anyway, we're going to be modifying a lot of stuff across different files here today. I'm going to try and keep this video as short as possible. By the end of this video, we should be able to have a button that functions. I know it sounds ridiculous, but when we have to do everything from scratch like this and make it malleable so we don't have to like write a bunch of code every single time we want to make a menu. Instead, we write a bunch of code once and then a little bit of code for every menu we make. And we'll actually see that here today. So let's go ahead and get things going. We're going to start with, oh man, this we could start anywhere. We'll start with the IGUI interface because there's only a little bit to add there. Then we can get rid of it. So in here, all we want to do is we want to give it access to a rectangle. So let's say rectangle. Normally, under like our other GUI or our other interfaces, we would do like the position and the look or the scale. In this case, we're just gonna do the full rectangle. It'll be a little easier for syntax later. So that's the rectangle, and that's it for IGUI. We can actually close out of that interface. It should be pretty much set. And we're actually going to be implementing on click, on enter, and on leave today as well. So we're going to be doing all that good stuff. Next up is let's get the button out of the way. That's the next easiest one. Not necessarily the easiest. It probably is the next easiest. So there's a couple different things we want to do. Firstly, I made a little bit of a mistake with on enter and on leave. So I got rid of that. You can completely remove the stuff out of those for now. We're going to be adding the functionality in a little bit here to those, but for now, just just get rid of those other things because we have to do that stuff, but we also have to create new brush. So the mistake I made, and it'll make sense when we explain it here, and you probably noticed it in the last video, is we make a new solid brush with active color, which is great. However, changing active color doesn't matter. In fact, we could probably get rid of active color. We could even just say active color, hover color. We only need the active color and hover color. We only need the two colors. We don't need the third, like, quote unquote, storage color. Yeah, we've got my color, active color, hover color. Can actually, so do like active color and hover color. We'll leave the variables in for now. We can remove them in a bit. So let's go ahead and fix IGUI. So I'll implement this. And we just need to toss a rectangle. Okay, a little small change on my part. You can change it if you want to. You don't have to. Instead of doing full rectangle, because that's the name of the structure it references, I'll just do rect. And then we go back to button and change rectangle to rect. And then instead of this, we'll just point it to my rect. There we go. So now when we go back to our menu, we're going to be able to point to this rect and be like, is the mouse over this rect? So it makes it a little easy down when we go to do that instead of having to, well, since we base it off the interface rather than based off of like a base class like button, then it makes a bit more sense. So moving on, let's head into our constructor. So there's a new thing we want to add to our parameters. I know they're already annoyingly long. So what we want to add is a new action. So we'll say action, and it'll be clicked, and we'll set it equal to null by default. So what this is when we create a new button, we can specify this is what I want to happen when that button is clicked. Oh, I think I know what the issue is. Right? No, never mind. And then this dot on click will say this dot, what is it, clicked? Oops. Oh no, we gotta actually specify, or we gotta create the variable. So let's come up here and give the button a new variable. I don't think there's really a good place to put it. We'll put it under draw format. We'll say action, and we'll just call it click. And then we'll say clicked equals clicked, or clicked equals click. This dot click equals clicked. And then we can say on click, we can say this dot click. So what'll happen is we go into a menu or we create the button and we say, hey, I want your click action to be this. Do what I tell you to do when I create this menu. That way the menus are the ones that are controlling the flow, because we don't need the button saying, all right, destroy my menu, then load this other menu. No, the menu should probably be saying, hey, I need to destroy myself. Go ahead and load up this other menu or something. So that's that. Next up, we're going to create some preemptive, I guess it's not preemptive, but we're going to finish button here. So we want to say, so the way entering or hovering works is, I'll bring out the paint again, I guess. I don't know if this is even necessary this time. So that's okay. So we have a button. So if I do this, a normal collision check will just constantly go. Remember, like when our player is colliding, it's constantly saying, okay, player goes up to align with, this. So what we need to do is say on collide, essentially, stop colliding, and then we'll stop doing the thing that we do when we collide. Then when we exit the collide, start, or call that and stop calling the on exit. So that's how an on hover and an on exit will work. And then we can set a variable saying, hey, we are hovering, have you clicked? Yes, perfect. Go ahead and do your thing. So probably didn't need a visual for that, but anyway. So the way that works is we say if this dot is hovered. So on entered, if we are already hovering, we return. And I'm using is hovered, because we don't like, so it's like is mouse over essentially, not like have you been hovering over the button for a little while. So, and we can actually do the opposite for on leave. So if we are not hovered, we would, if we are not hovered, then we don't do anything. This already tells us that we need to, only do it when this event actually gets called once rather than repeatedly. Then we can say else for everything else that happens. Actually, we don't even need to put this in an else, because if it returns, this stuff won't happen. You can say this dot is hovered equals true. This dot active color. So I'm just going to use the active color because we have it, equals this dot hover color, so we can store these. Then we say this dot my visual equals new solid brush. This dot active color. Okay. And we could like technically make these brushes at the beginning and say, hey, my visual is equal to this brush instead of that brush or whatever. I don't know. And then we can actually just copy and paste these and then say hovered equals false. This dot active color equals, what is this, my color. And then we don't need to change the last line. So now we haven't actually implemented the collision checking, but now the button will do everything we need it to do. So we can save this. We can actually close out of button for the rest of this video. Let's move on. So we've done that. Have we changed menu yet? Menu has a few different things we need to do. So let's go ahead and do the menu next. Just get all these things out of the way systematically instead of doing a bunch of different stuff. So I got rid of the to-do, but the to-do is still here, and we are going to do it this video. Add menu register, because we have to register with this with the game window. But we want to do a couple things. So firstly, let's come down below draw. We are gonna do this one thing in draw. We're gonna make a private void, update mouse hover, and we're gonna take an IGUI elem, And then we're going to make a private bool. Private bool is mouse over lm. There's a reason for this. Firstly, we want to be able to check without calling the is hover, because we're going to be doing a but yeah, we need to be able to call it, and we need to be able to not call it. So we'll say if is mouse over lm, we pass through the lm, then we say, oops, say lm dot on enter, and then else lm dot on leave. Okay. And then here, this is where we actually have to do the collision check. So I think we have everything we need to just write it out right now. It's similar to the AABB collision. However, we don't have to check the width and height of the mouse location because it's a point rather than a rectangle. So we would say if this.game.mouse location. Oh, yep. If you don't have access to it, you might not. I may have forgot to depublicize it before starting the video. Go to your game window. Make sure you have mouse location public. I'm not caring too much about passing it through in a function. A function from game window to menu. Instead, we're just going to access it this way. And we say if this.game.mouseLocation.x is greater than lm.rect.x. So if it's we'll get into that in a second. We've already done this, so I probably don't need to go too far in explaining it. But if we are greater than its x, so if rx is greater than its x, and this.game.mouseLocation.x is less than lm.rect.x plus lm.rect.width, and so if we are in the same x, if we're in the same region as the x, we say this.game.mouseLocation.y is greater than lm.rect.y, and finally this.game.mouseLocation.y is less than lm.rect.y plus lm.rect.height. Okay, so if all of those things are true, we would return true. Else, return false. So let's go ahead and let me clarify this. You can probably skip forward a minute or two to get past this. Probably not even a minute or two. So we have a point, and we have a square, or a button of some sort. That bugs me. Good enough. So if we are greater than x, so if we are from here forward, and we are less than the x plus width equals here. So if we are here and we are greater than y, so remember y is y goes down, so we start here, and we are this way, and then of course if we are less than the y plus height, so pretty straightforward. If we are within the bounds of the box, we are colliding with it. And we could probably do like less than or equal signs, but it is what it is. Maybe gives a little bit of padding. So if we are hovering over the mouse element, we call the on enter and then the on leave. So what we can do is call in draw, since we're already going through the loop. We draw it, and then we say, actually what we can do is say update mouse hover element. And actually, if we were to draw a button right now, it still wouldn't work because we actually need to update mouse location. And you might not have mouse location, and that's my bad. I completely forgot that I have mouse location and you don't. Mouse location is a public vector 2. If you didn't have it, I apologize. Make it. I imagine you probably already figured that out. If you're this far into the video series, you probably know enough about what we're doing to understand that you needed that to do that. I apologize though, because that's still a mistake on my part. When I make these videos, I do a lot of testing before, and it's like, all right, what do I want to do next? So I make it, and then I get rid of it, and then I rebuild it together. It also allows me to think through it enough to make sure it's handled properly. instead of like doing a bunch of half-assed stuff that breaks 2 videos down the line. But mistakes still happen. So the next thing we want to do real quick is handle the clicking. So all we're going to do is tell our menu to handle click. So what it's going to do is say if we are over the mouse, when a click happens, if we're over, if the mouse is over an element, handle or call element.onClick. So we're gonna make it a public void because the game window is gonna be calling it. We're gonna say handle click, and we just say for each. We need to go back through these for this call because it's separate. Element and elements is fine. You can say if is mouse over element element.onClick. So let's go ahead and head over to our window. And we have a couple, maybe this was, did we do this in the last video? I don't remember. If not, let's add our mouse move. So window.mousemove plus equals, we're just adding an event delegate or no, handler. And I use the default name. You can call it whatever you want. Just create it and make sure you set up mouse location.x equals e.x and mouse location.y equals e.y. Again, I apologize. If this was missed, if you have already done it, perfect. Next up, so we have mouse location, and actually, that's it for mouse location. Actually, yeah, if we created a button, it would work because now we have mouse location. We have that vector2 that exists. So when aside from the onClicked, we could get a hover. So unfortunately, we can't just simply create a button on the main thing and test it anymore. So we could create a menu and create a registry or a register from a button to that menu, which would be kind of stupid. Instead, what we're gonna do is create like the starting point for our main menu and uh, just use that because then when we go back like in the next video to actually like create our main menu, we kind of already know what we're doing rather than doing it in the cheap way that's not going to work. The last thing we need to do before we actually create that menu is handle the click. There's 2 ways to handle it, and I actually didn't do it one way because I got confused. Not well, I didn't get. Yeah, it was a way of debugging. We're gonna do it the way that's um. Well, we're gonna do it the way that I have it, but we can do it one other way. So we're gonna say window.mouse click. Oops. Wow. Mouse click. If I could type, plus equals window mouse click. Enter. And we actually don't have a list of menus yet, so let's go ahead and do that. So we'll say, we'll put it up near our list here. We'll make it private because we don't need to have it anywhere else. Private list of menu. Menu may come back. Oh, menu's probably not going to come back as an error for me, but it might for you. If it does, you can use different quick actions. Like I have it saying using menu equals game with no engine tutorial.game.ui.menu. You could use one of the other ones it has. There's like, name it however you want to. That way it doesn't give you an error. And I'm going to call mine active menus. And then on the on load here, so I don't forget, we're going to say active menu equals new list of menu. Oops. There we go. And then we're going to add, well, we might as well add our register and deregister real quick. So public void register menu, menu, this dot active menus dot add, and we'll just copy and paste this. Not remove. Okay. And then that looks good. That looks good. And then the menu, we can say this dot game dot register menu this. Now when we create submenus of this, they don't need to call that. It'll automatically register them when they create them, which is a nice thing. So that's good. That's good. We need to go into the window paint here for each menu. Oops, menu, and active menus. menu.draw, G. So that'll pass through that. Sorry if I'm going fast. We've done these things a million times. This is kind of just busy work at the moment, catching up on some stuff. So we've got registry, we've got it drawing. Menu.draw will tell all the elements that are registered to it to draw. And if they're supposed to be hovered, then it'll call hover. Let's go ahead and add the mouse click. So we're going to say for each menu in active menus, we're going to call menu.handle click. And now if we have any menus that are active, one thing to note is, like, for example, we have like an is active. We could also add, so is if mouse over element, is if element is active, or we can even put that on the element itself, like is active, we call on click, something like that, pick your poison with that. We're not going to do it for now. I don't foresee us having a bunch of menu items that are like overlapping each other like that. If we do need to, we can implement it. And the nice thing about that is if we implement that at a level where it's at this low level here, where we say, like, let's say we add it to the button, or we add it directly to menu where it checks it on each element, then it won't just we won't have to do a bunch of things. We'll just add it and it'll work. The only thing that we'll have to do additionally is tell the buttons or the other elements when to be active or inactive, or visible or invisible, however you want to do that, because the other thing could be a visible check. So we've got handle click, we've got that. The only thing that's left is to actually tell the menu to exist. So, well, we have to, write the menu that we want to exist and then tell it to exist. So let's go ahead and make a new file. This is going to be where I store all my menus. So I'm going to put like my main menu here, my escape menu, my like pause menu. My HUD's probably going to go in here, all that good stuff. So add a new item, and we'll say, I'm going to call it menus. I know we've got like, or I'll call it game menus, or no. Yeah. Oh man, this is ugly. Game menus is fine. Then inside here, the first class is going to be main menu. And main menu is going to inherit from menu. And it's going to immediately toss an error. Let's go ahead and fix that. Generate constructor. And since the constructor comes from or derives from the base menu, we don't need to do anything here. We don't need to like set like game equals game, or this dot game equals game. It's already done for us. So that's all fine and dandy. Let's go ahead and create a new button. So it would say this dot register element new button. This is an awful, I know. This is why I regret doing it this way. Because now we pass in a button, it's like, okay, well, what do? We have to toss in all these parameters. So the canvas is this. The position, we'll do a new vector 2. You see system.numerics.vector2, ignore it because that's annoying to put in here. Or gosh dang it, just get rid of that. And then when it comes up as an error, just add it. Then we'll do another comma for new vector 2. The string text, I'll say quit, we'll do a quit button. System.drawing, we'll leave as default. Now how do we get past that? So how do we get past the default color and the default HUD cover? Well, if we want to go to our action clicked, we can say clicked equals, and then we can give it an action. So there's a couple different ways to do an action. I don't know if this one is work. We're gonna try a public void quit button console.writeLine, and we're not gonna quit yet because I want to test some stuff while we're here, quitting the game. All right, and we're gonna actually set the action to quit button. So that was one. We could also do like an anonymous, like a lambda function, but this should work. So what we're gonna do is we're going to, I think we've done everything. Let's go back to game window. And inside of game window, if I'm not mistaken, all we do at this point is say And we don't really need like an actual reference to it. That's the cool thing about these lists is we don't have to like store a bunch of like hard references. We'll do a discard, so underscore equals new. We say it's a main menu. New main menu, and we just toss into this. And it is giving us an error, so main menu is an ambiguous reference. We show potential fixes. We can just do, we can either do using main menu like this, or we can say GUI.main menu. I'll do it for this. And if we've done everything, we should have a button appear on the screen now. See if we get any issues. Okay, so it's not drawing the button. See why? Oh, I know why. Well, actually, no, that would be wrong because game window is creating a main menu. So I have to debug. Why is it not being called? Let's go to Paint. Paint is calling it. Oh no, it should be registering, right? Let's double check and make sure it's being registered because I feel like that would be the issue. I thought it should be. Fine. Registering menu. Okay, the menu did get registered. Oh, maybe I was going crazy there. Okay, so it's not that. Game menus. Let's see. Let's register element, elements.add. And for each element, so let's go to the button. Button drawing. I'm actually not sure what I'm missing here. Oh, I know what I'm missing. Of course, I'm a ding dong. We did do everything right, except for one teeny tiny thing. We didn't give the button some settings. So this one is the position. I'm just gonna do it at 100 for now, and I'll do a 100 button. There we go. That's my mistake. There we go. Let's go ahead and start. And we got rid of the draw call because that's annoying. And now we have a quit button, and we got it hovering. Let's go ahead and click on it. And it looks like we have the double issue. So I did some debugging already, and what I found is there's actually two buttons here. So how can we tell that there's two buttons? Well, let's go ahead and go to button. And, oh, you know what? I think I know what the issue is. I figured out what the issue is. We don't even need to do the other thing. So this is a mistake on my part. So when we create the button, we register the element to it. So what I was doing is there's one button, but it's being registered twice. My fix was to on register was just to after we add it, we create it or we uniqueify the list essentially. Where is it? Menu here. So after we add, we would say elements.add and then elements equals elements dot oops dot what was it? What was it? Hold on, it was here we go. Elements dot distinct dot to list, which worked. Problem being is that like I said at the beginning, it didn't actually solve the issue. Well, I figured out what the issue is. So when we do game menu, instead of saying this.register element, we just say underscore equals new. I wish we could just do like new button. Can we do new button? Seems to work. Give it a shot. Start. See if it gives us any errors. Oh, no errors. We don't even need to use a discard. Cool. Hit quit. And cool. Okay, so that fixed the issue that I was having, and I'm glad. This is why I do things twice, because it's like, wait a second, I completely missed the fact that I was registering it twice. So that's awesome. Okay, so with that in mind, let's go ahead and just say application.exit. No. Application.exit. It always likes to do that. Make sure you got system.windows.forms here. I will call application.exit. This is probably not the way we're going to end up doing this. We'll probably end up having like a callback to game window where game window does something like, so for example, game window leaves an open thread. If we just exit the application, we need to actually close that thread if it's active. So we need to say, hey, you just quit the game, shut the thread down, and then proceed with quitting the application. I don't think we have any open things here. Let me move this over and check. So if I hit start, I've got game with no engine. It's not really giving any issues. So if I close out of it, looks like it's not leaving it open. I still don't trust it. Maybe they fixed it. It used to be that if you were to do something like that, you would have issues with your thread remaining open, but it looks like they may have added some safeties to that. Anyway, for now, we got it set up properly. So that's how we create this, and it looks like because we don't need to do the discard, we could probably do that here too. I thought we needed a discard for the for that. Let's see. On load. Let's do it without a discard. Likes it. Yeah, it likes it. Cool. Okay. Well, we're probably going to leave this. This is probably going to be where we stop. Well, we're definitely going to stop here today because the video's at 30 minutes and we've drawn one singular button with text that is ugly. In the next video, we're going to just go ahead and straight up design our GUI. We're going to have the main menu. We're going to have the main menu load into a like a play quit button. We're going to have it hit play. And then for now, we'll have like one load level button. We'll just say load main level, load test level, or whatever, something like that. And we'll have the load test level load us that level that we created here, for example, and it'll create the player and stuff like that. So like, we'll go into like, we'll change load level to load the level and then call the player creation and all that good stuff. So this level will probably be doing some stuff in load level here at that point. And then after that, I'm not sure we'll go in the next video. We got plenty of different things to do across the board. Things are going to start getting a bit more, I don't know if they're complex, not necessarily, but I don't know. We got plenty of things to do, but things are going to start getting a bit more advanced. Not necessarily in the coding aspects, but like when we start like looking at how we're doing things and figuring out what needs to be done. It's going to be a bit more simple than just throw a bunch of code on the screen and hope it works. Not necessarily what we're doing, but you get the idea. So anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day.